Hello everyone. April the 22nd, Earth Day today, and it's a very powerful day, I tell you, and you probably can feel it. We have gone through a fundamental shift in the last few days. I guess everybody could attest to that. There were some real issues to be worked through, but we have successfully arrived at the other end of this 4 or 5 day period, which was really intense. I felt it, we felt it all in our own ways, I'm sure. This is the rise of our dragon self, which we are experiencing. We are in the middle of it. This is truly amazing. It started really kicking in high gear last fall. You know, Elon Musk took over Twitter, which really changed the landscape. And it's all about that all the population on this planet deserves to know what's going on. That's the bottom line, regardless of left, right, black, white, what not. It's all these diversions and divisions which we have been played with. We have to overcome them. And what will overcome them is full scope, full spectrum of information. Everything has to be allowed. Everything has to be available and open. That's the base of people waking up. As simple as that. So this started last November, truly October, late October. It was around the time actually Mars turned retrograde, which was very interesting, as Mars, when it goes backwards, is getting into a revision, into an upgrade. And that happened between October 30th and January the 12th. On January the 12th, Mars turned direct again, and simultaneously the comet, which I'm having the chart down here on the side, because this is really the base of what I'm building on. This was a really powerful influence in our inner solar system. Anyway, you can go back, there are several videos there on that topic, but this is really at the bottom of it. So Mars turned direct on that day, the 12th of January that was. Now the other thing, early November really, is Haumea, who moved into Scorpio on November the 13th. Has been in Scorpio just till yesterday. That was the first stay in it. Haumea is dragon energy pure. That's what it really is. It's that dragon egg I showed you the picture, the image of how it looks, the photographs and the depictions. It looks like a rugby ball, and it spins once over its far end in every 4 hours. So super dynamic, is, as we speak, back in Libra, in the 30th degree of Libra. That is here, 2958. Yes, it moved backwards into, you see, it's a little tricky to see here. Let me just move this a little bit so it's easier. Okay, here we go. Yes, as big as possible. So Earth is at 2 degrees Scorpio, and just right here at the cusp is Haumea, and here is Elatus. So Haumea is the one we're talking about, which was discovered in 2004 on December the 28th, 2 days after that great catastrophe, that seaquake, which killed over 250,000 people on December the 26th, 2004. I find that super interesting. That, I mean, you can imagine when 250,000 people pass at once, this creates a wave into the other dimension, wherever that energy disperses to. So it was riding on that wave, Haumea came in. You can literally see it that way. And I mean, there's a whole rat tail of more story to the discovery of Haumea. I will make a special video on Haumea. That's upcoming. I'm still in my inner space, in my mind, my imagination, getting ready to fully grasp it. which is not that hard because it's on my natal moon right now. My natal moon is in the 1st degree of Scorpio, and that's where Haumea had been pretty much since mid-November and is now back in Libra. Libra, you remember the last degree of Libra? That was where Earth was just at 2 days ago when the solar eclipse was exact, 2952 or so in Libra. That is Earth's position as seen from the Sun during the eclipse. And we always have to look at both sides. That's one of the pillars of astrology. Helio and geocentric, from Earth's position, from the Sun's position. It is this juxtaposition of being aware of both, which is really where integration happens. So anyway, the long story short, Haumea is back in Libra. Where it has been for 30 years or so, roughly between 1992 and 2022. And then, as I said, since November the 13th, it was in Scorpio. And Scorpio is the sign of a very deep interaction. And it's really from the belly, it's from the guts. That's where Scorpio's energy comes from. It's connected to the Hara. As it's said in astrology that the Scorpio sign is related to birth and death, to transformation. That is all very primal stuff in that sense. So Haumea having this extreme energy of momentum and of spinning in space. And I mean, Haumea was named after the Hawaiian goddess who created the island, the archipelago, out of the seas, that fire and earth, which builds from thousands and thousands of meters of depth in the ocean, builds up slowly that plateau. I mean, yes, look at the geography of Hawaii, and it is actually it's the only place on Earth where within the distance of, let's say, 200 kilometers, there's a drop of over 12 or 14,000 meters. It's maybe I'm saying a little bit too much. Let's say the highest mountain in Hawaii is 4,000 plus, but the sea is very deep there. So I guess it's maybe in the range of 13 to 16,000 meters. Anyway, you get the picture. It is really Haumea has built on the lowest level of seafloor. It's a steady moment, and then one moment comes when finally, after thousands and thousands of years of lava under the ocean building up, finally it comes out of the water and is born as an island. And that's kind of the energy you get from Haumea. It's something which builds really slowly, stabilizing itself, and then comes the moment when it comes into the open, and that is pretty much what happens right now as it enters Scorpio. Now here comes the twist, and I did go into this a bit deeper in my last video. Please watch that one, super important. The one where I'm linking the eclipse back to the comet, which again you have the chart here, which I talk about why this eclipse has been fully bring to blossoming that comet's influence, which, I mean, yes, it was uncanny how the comet actually passed its momentum onto Mars. That's how it really happens. That's why even though the comet is still here, but it has given its momentum mainly to Mars, and Mars is super powerful these days. Actually, during that time, those last 4 or 5 days which I mentioned were a really critical, pivotal moment to push through. Within that frame, these few days, Mars heliocentric and Uranus heliocentric had a perfect square, the waxing square. Super important, as Uranus plays a key role in the awakening of Neptune. Did I say it right? Uranus, I mean Uranus, in the 19th degree of Taurus, the 19th degree entering. Let me just open here a chart here for you, then you can see what I'm talking about. So this is Neptune's discovery chart, and Neptune's discovery chart has, here we go, and now it's popping up, just give it a second. Neptune's birth chart, the ascendant is at 1834. Yes, now it's coming up, you see. That is where Uranus is right now by transit. Already last year had cupped over this corner 2 times forward and backward, and now it will have its final entry into Neptune's first house, so to say. So Neptune is awakening to a new experience. It's really, that's what it does when the fog is dissipated, and that's what we are doing presently. With bringing everything into the light, everything into the open. We are dissipating the fog. People are waking up. They're suddenly seeing through the layers of distraction and deception and whatnot. I mean, I could go on. You know that is all very well known. I'm not talking something new here. So anyway, the long and short, Uranus is the one which is awakening Neptune, and Uranus is right now at 1756 in Taurus. Actually, if we go heliocentric, and I'm just jumping here now to the next chart, which is just again an amazing coincidence, 2 degrees of Taurus, the sun moved in, which is the hexagram 27. I mean, there's so many things I have to tell you here, because this is the most important window of the whole year, probably because the sun is connecting with the North Node upcoming from here on into the end of April, I would say. This is an enormously powerful period. The sun in the first decant of Taurus, basically, and then you see 2 degrees it is today. Then it will catch up to the node in 2 days. That will be the 24th, a super powerful day. And then as it goes here, then make all the other aspects with Saturn, the sextile to Saturn, and the sextile to Mars then approaching. So it is really between Saturn, Mars here, which are the main frames of this present bowl, if you could say. This is kind of a chart which astrologers would call a bowl. And it has a very clear focus in the 11th house. Look at this huge 11th house. So now, okay, before I go any deeper in raving about this chart, let me just tell you what this chart really means. This is when the sun entered hexagram 27. And let me just start with this one here. Yeah, sorry, my computer is a little slow, but that is at the gene key 27. Let me make this a little bigger. Let's see. Yes, here we go. So that is Richard Roth, one of my definitely people I'm listening to and being very interested what they are finding out. He actually has rewritten pretty much the whole I Ching, which I love since my late teens. The Chinese book of changes with the 64 hexagrams, which I'm repeatedly referring to. Anyway, Richard Roth, he rewrote the gene keys, which is basically a new edition of the I Ching, of the 64 combinations of white and black lines, if you want to say. It's a truly digital system and relates naturally to the 64 codons in our DNA. So anyway, the I Ching overlaid over the zodiac, that is where Gene Key 27 starts at 2 degrees Taurus, lasting till 7 degrees, 37 minutes and 30 seconds in Taurus, for those interested. Otherwise, just don't get too much caught up in the detail. I'm sometimes getting a little too detailed. Sorry about that. Anyway, Nourishment is the original title of that hexagram of these 5-6 coming days. We enter the field of selflessness through Gene Key 27. How do we drop the self? What indeed is the self? Contemplate these questions this week, and perhaps you may taste the field that exists behind our version of reality. He keeps going. Actually, this is a great recording. I'm recommending it. I put the link under it. 18 minutes long. Richard Rudd speaks about hexagram 27, and his basic understanding is that this segment in the zodiac represents that transformation from selfishness to selflessness, and it is the true balance between both, actually, which again matters. Consideration is the word he brings into. You first naturally are meant to care for yourself. That's why that's our first and foremost task in this reality, to make sure our body is healthy, to make sure we are feeding ourselves well and taking care of our bodies and such. It is a true appreciation just of the gift we have been given, because I didn't ask for the body. It kind of, one day I woke up and was in my body. I don't know where I'm coming from. That's kind of our story. And it is the appreciation of what that wonderful tool we have been given, very simply said. And then once you fulfill all its basic needs, then you consider there's an overflow, you want to involve, you want to reach out, you want to open up and receive the world. It's natural. So it is this process. It's a very, very natural process. And on the other end of the zodiac, so you can read more on that. I'm just wanting to show quickly here the structure of the hexagram. It's very special. It is the open mouth. It's one of these really beautiful hexagrams, very natural, very much connecting us to our primal self, that root which we have in the ground, in the fertile ground of reality, of nature, and nature in that sense. It's our whole surrounding, the air, the trees, the sun, the wind, the water. You get it. So this is a wonderful time of being nourished, and actually the lunar node has been in that hexagram since February the 6th. So this energy has already been primed quite a bit. So now we are coming into the core period where the sun meets that energy. So I'm just wanting to read this quickly. April 22 to 27 is the core phase of a 4.5 month period. As now the sun, our fundamental life force, lines up with and empowers our present collective evolutionary direction, as indicated by the Lunar North node, which is, you see the nodes. I really would like to explain this quickly, so bear with me. It is when we consider Earth moving in one plane around the sun. This is the ecliptic. This is the main projection plane we are experiencing reality through. It's that. It's like a table. You could look at it. Now, the moon has a slightly off-angled plane of moving around Earth. It's a little off, so it goes through the table at some point and then back down again. So where it comes up out of the table, that is where the moon's energy feeds into that Sun-Earth plane. That's literally what it means. It's the place where the moon intersects with Sun and Earth, where a true union is generated. That's why this is such an important spot. And that is the direction of evolution. And that, interestingly enough, is that the lunar nodes now, that point in space where the moon cuts through that Sun-Earth plane, is moving backwards through the zodiac. Once every 18 years. Super important. So every 1.5 years or so, backwards we move into another sign. Right now we are in Taurus. Taurus is the sign of planting seeds, of making something concrete happening, manifesting something. With Uranus in that sign now since roughly 3 years, we have already accomplished so many great ideas, and they're now ready to be watered and fed and shining on. I guess that's the word. Shone on. Anyway, you get the picture. We are in that process now of inserting our life energy into the ground, really making it happen. So I suggest to click the link below and listen to, as I said, that already. That's definitely worth doing. Suggest that highly. So let's go back to astrology now. So it's, I get the picture of how important this ingress chart is of the Sun into hexagram 27. So again, we are looking at the Greenwich chart for the 0 meridian, which I guess makes really much sense. This is the center point where east and west meet. And the 5129 of Greenwich, I keep repeating it, it is 1/7 of the circle, exactly 5126, just 3 minutes off. But this is super important, that 7th of a circle has the resonance of infinity. The number 7 is very special. In that sense, it is truly a window, a very special window to the greater cosmos, that place on Earth. It's a fractal, and no wonder. For example, why is England so special? Just look at all these crop circles over the last 30 years. Every year, 95% of the crop circles appear in England. England is really kind of the womb. In a way, it's the fractal of the whole. In a way, it's where everything has been rippling out of, and who knows, that might be even true in a very, very big historical way. We don't know, but it is an interesting thought to start with. And also, again, it is connecting with that spot. That's what we do when we look at this chart. So this is kind of the meeting point where all lines come together. That's why this point is so important. So yes, look at the 11th house here. Unbelievable. From here, 27 Aries, up to 13 degrees Gemini. All these planets are in here. The 11th house is Aquarian. Resonance of Aquarius. Aquarius is the dwad here of Cancer, between 17, 30 and 20. So it's a Cancerian energy with an Aquarian overnode. Very caring, loving, connected to Earth. That's what Cancer is. To the moon's energy, yes, to the moon's energy. So the moon is the ruler of this chart. We get to that in a second. But the Aquarian node is the unconventional expression of Cancer. Kind of getting out on a limb of kind of a little fireworks in there. That's kind of how I see this degree, particularly of Cancer. And the moon, as I say, is super important in the last degree here of actually here it is exactly at this point, 29 30th degree of Taurus together with Setna. Super interesting. Sedna is finalizing its whatever 40-year stay in Taurus. It will first time move into Gemini by June 15. Then a date to mark on your calendar. For sure will be a super important beginning of a whole new chapter of reality. Sedna coming in from an 11,000 year orbit. Change of sign is something really big. Anyway, Sedna is in the last degree of Taurus and bringing all these treasures from its far journey through space. It's really like a treasure cove deep in the mountain. Yes, it's dangerous and dark in there, and but if we have the courage to dive down there deep to the far end of the solar system, 1,000 times or so the distance sun has from Earth, that's how deep Sedna dives into space, to give you a rough idea. So Sedna has tremendous treasures in the last final degree of Taurus here with the moon. That also has been quite a catalytic birth we have been going through, because really the final dot on the I of what's happening right now is this chart. Now look at this. At 9:22:44, first of all, I mean, yes, numbers matter. So this in itself is an interesting synchronicity, as everything is. So it doesn't matter where you look. But you see, then 10:59:46, just as I say, less than 2 hours later, in heliocentric geometry, Mars and Venus have a conjunction here. I talked about that already in my last video, so really you have to go back there to get the full picture. But just want to repeat, this is a rebirth in Leo and connected to the very strongly to, well, now I don't have the chart here anymore, I wanted to have here, just bear with me, to the comet, to the comet's energy. Let me see if I find it right away. The one I want to show you here, the perihelion. Here we go. Yes, okay, sorry about that. A little break is sometimes a good thing to have. So Venus-Mars conjunction in Leo. How about that? That is fiery. Resonates with Haumea, what we just before said. There's something really to be born, and it is the dragon breath which is arising. Our breath is getting fiery. That's what it is. We are getting into our full power. Now, yeah, there's so many layers to the story, because in heliocentric geometry, Haumea just entered Scorpio. Let me see if I have that chart here. I don't have it. You have to really go back to my last one. It's big what has happened in the last few days. It really is big, and yeah, let's go forward from here, and you have to catch up on that. I mean, this in itself here gives it away. When heliocentrically Mars and Venus conjuncted earlier today, in that moment in Greenwich over the 0 meridian, Chiron was in the 9th house. Beautiful, beautiful. That is true mastery. Taking on the challenge, jumping into the river, doing what nature wants me to do, connecting to my inner codes, my blueprint, because it's all there. It's all there. We just have to allow and go with it and be the action. That's how Jacqueline Hobbs just said. Again, I post a link. You're most welcome. She is amazing. She is really one of the leaders of our present time. She organizes. Actually, a leader is the wrong word for her. She is a very humble organizer and an oracle. Yes, absolutely. I mean, she talks in ways which can be understood on so many levels: personal, collective, universal. It is like a standing wave, and it gets always bigger, more potent. And naturally, there's so many spiritual teachers out there right now who are doing all the right thing. It is happening. It is really, as I said, people are coming to power. I said it already earlier, and May would be the time when people just wouldn't take it anymore. And we are very, very close to that moment. And it is us, the people who have been in the knowing since years. I mean, everybody had their awakening at some point. Doesn't really matter if you're new here for that reason, but the more longer you were in it, you have kind of built that inner stability and then knowing, and this needs to be shared. As simple as that. We deserve to be heard, and everybody has a mission here. We have come here for a reason. There's a plan. Yes, there's a plan, and it's coming to light. And this is really what's happening right now as we speak. That plan is coming to light. The volcanic eruptions over thousands of years, so to say, have been building up slowly, and have now reached a place where they cut through the water, where the island all of a sudden becomes visible, becomes inhabitable. It's an enormous power which is released with this dragon breath which we are getting into. So anyway, I guess I have to do a second episode because I'm just running out of time today. I have made a commitment. We go to a gathering. So let's leave it here, and I will be back tomorrow with the rest of the story. But it is getting exciting, and it is us doing it, holding the power. We are really the new power, as Jacqueline Hobbs already 2 years ago said. We are the architects. We make the connection to the world as it still was when we were young. We have that connection to nature in a way the younger generations are definitely lacking. Again, I know, by design, it's been done to them. However, there's a saving grace. Yes, there is this knowledge still. There is enough older people, very valuable older people who know, who still make the connection into the world where everything was just sweet. Before the big challenge started, like I would say around 1963, you know that date, November the 22nd. I don't have to say more. That's when really the fight started, and it is coming full circle, not the way it was really envisioned. It will come by surprise. Yes, it will come by surprise. Not where most people are looking to. Anyway, thank you for listening, and talk to you soon. Love you all.